This debate today, it's about who gets to be an American. What opinions do we have to be counted as Americans? This is what this debate is about, Madam Speaker. There is this idea that you are a suspect if you are an immigrant, or if you are from certain parts of the world, or a certain skin tone, or a Muslim. It is no accident that members of the Republican Party accused the first Black president, Barack Obama, of being a secret Muslim.
The gentlelady cannot, as a member of Congress, be standing up and telling the world that what we saw unfold in attacking Israel is justified. We can't.
Mr. Chair, do you know what it's like to fear rising hate crimes, to know how Islamophobia and anti-Semitism makes us all less safe, and worry that your own child might suffer the horrors that 6-year-old Wadia did in Illinois? I can't believe I have to say this, but Palestinian people are not disposable.
What just happened on the House floor was explosive, and it's sending shockwaves across the country. A sitting U.S. Congresswoman took a stand that has ignited fierce debate across both political lines. Her passionate defense of Palestinian lives and her direct challenge to President Biden and U.S. foreign policy sparked a heated backlash and ultimately led to a push for her censure. Let's break down exactly what went down, what was said, and why this moment matters more than ever. This is a 10-point summary you don't want to miss.
We are human beings, just like anyone else. My city, my grandmother, like all Palestinians, just wants to live her life with freedom and human dignity we all deserve. Speaking up to save lives, Mr. Chair, no matter faith, no matter ethnicity, should not be controversial in this chamber. The cries of the Palestinian and Israeli children sound no different to me. What I don't understand is why the cries of Palestinians sound different to you all. We cannot lose our shared humanity, Mr. Chair. I hear the voices of advocates in Israel, in Palestine, across America, and around the world for peace. I am inspired by the courageous survivors in Israel who have lost loved ones, yet are calling for a ceasefire and the end to violence. I am grateful to the people in the streets for the peace movement, with countless Jewish Americans across the country standing up and lovingly saying, "Not in our name." We will continue to call for a ceasefire, Mr. Chair, for the immediate delivery of critical humanitarian aid to Gaza, for the release of all hostages and those arbitrarily detained, and for every American to come home. We will continue to work for a real lasting peace that upholds human rights and dignity of all people and centers in peaceful coexistence between Israelis and Palestinians, and censures no one, and ensures that no person, no child has to suffer or live in fear of violence. 71% of Michigan Democrats support a ceasefire. So you can try to censure me, but you can't silence their voices. I urge my colleagues to join with the majority of Americans and support a ceasefire now to save as many lives as possible. President Biden must listen to and represent all of us, not just some of us. I urge the president to have the courage to call for a ceasefire and the end of killings. Thank you, and I yield.
Gentlelady yields back. Gentleman from Maryland reserves. Gentleman from Texas is recognized for 4 minutes.
I thank the gentleman from Georgia for his time. And with respect to the gentleman from Maryland, I understand the perspectives with respect to free speech. And I certainly wish to always stand aside the protection of free speech in this country. But this goes well beyond that. because we're not talking about restraining the gentleladies from Michigan's ability to speak as an American citizen. We're not talking about punishing her, putting her in jail. What we're talking about is whether a member of the United States House of Representatives, whether a member of this body representing this nation is justified in putting forward a defense of the actions of Hamas terrorists that murdered innocent Israeli citizens, is holding United States citizens and Israelis hostage, and in her own language was defending on October 8th, a mere 24 hours into the brutal and barbaric attacks in which babies were beheaded, babies were placed into ovens, literally. Moms were raped in a house while their babies were put in an oven. A documented account, video evidence. And this is dismissed as resistance to an apartheid state. My problem is that the gentlelady is also referring to, quote, Joe Biden supporting the genocide of the Palestinian people. The gentlelady has put forward that by virtue of the United States of America funding in solidarity the people of Israel in defense of their right to exist, that by virtue of our position as Americans, standing in front of that flag in this chamber representing 330 million Americans, that by funding and supporting Israel, we are somehow perpetuating the call for violence that we saw unfold right before our eyes on October 7th in the most brutal and heinous acts that some of us have ever seen. I do not doubt the gentlelady's sincerity of her concern for her home people and concerns about the attacks on the people of Gaza. I had some people who called into question that I would put out my public support for my former colleague, Justin Amash, who lost cousins in a church, receiving missile fire into a building next to a church. I genuinely pray for the people of Israel, the people of Gaza, the people throughout the world that are now dealing with all of this. But the gentlelady cannot, as a member of Congress, be standing up and telling the world that what we saw unfold in attacking Israel is justified. We can't. Free speech matters. I have grave concern right now about where this institution is going with respect to censures. I voted against the censure last week because I thought it had drafting problems, and I thought it had significant concerns it raised. I believe the work that was done by my friend from Georgia here put forward a resolution that is worthy of support. And so I support the resolution and believe that we should pass it.
A congresswoman, most likely Representative Rashida Tlaib, delivered an emotional and unapologetic defense of Palestinian lives on the House floor. She made it clear, Palestinians are not disposable. They deserve freedom, safety, and dignity, just like anyone else. She pushed back hard on rising hate crimes, Islamophobia, and anti-Semitism, saying these threats make everyone less safe. And in the same breath, she reminded Congress that speaking out for peace and humanitarian aid should never be controversial. Her message wasn't just about condemnation, it was about solutions. She called for an immediate ceasefire, the delivery of humanitarian aid to Gaza, the release of hostages and those arbitrarily detained, and the return of all American citizens. And here's where it gets even more politically charged. She directly called out President Biden, urging him to listen to the American people. She cited polling showing that 71% of Michigan Democrats support a ceasefire. Her demand? For the president to show courage, not just politics. But that speech didn't sit well with everyone. Republican lawmakers, particularly from Georgia and Texas, responded fiercely. They accused her of defending terrorism and justifying the brutal Hamas attacks on October 7th. They referenced her morally and politically, and when it came to the bombing of a hospital in Gaza, Republicans were quick to point out that U.S. intelligence found Israel was not responsible, calling her claims misinformation. All of this built up to one major consequence: a resolution to censure her. Supporters say it was necessary to send a message. Opponents argue it's a slippery slope. Punishing members of Congress for speech, even if it's controversial, sets a dangerous precedent. But at the heart of it all is a painful, unresolved question. Can we talk about the suffering of Palestinians without being accused of justifying terror? And can we criticize Israeli policy without being labeled anti-Semitic or un-American? These are the questions now echoing far beyond the walls of Congress. This story is about more than politics. It's about war, peace, identity, and the power of words. One congresswoman took a stand, others demanded consequences, and now the nation is watching not just what was said, but what comes next. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Was the censure justified, or was it an attack on free speech? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more breakdowns on the biggest political moments shaping our world today. Thanks for watching. Stay informed, stay critical.